Happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros. You're an incredible human. And during the month of January, I'm sharing different relevant and real and practical tips and tools and things that we can start doing in our lives to really cultivate a life of self-care, which will amplify our self-love, or rather loving ourselves, which will get us to healthier and happier places, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and just allow us to have a more fulfilling, more fun-filled, more love-filled, more grateful life, right? And I just want to be clear that happy and healthy is not a destination. It is a journey. It's a constant evolving a journey. So I've been giving out tips and tools, and this week I have 3 more for you. The first one is start basic. Start with your basic human needs. And I'm talking about food, water, rest, movement, and sunshine and fresh air, right? Honestly, I find that a lot of people, when I talk to them and I ask them questions like, how's your eating? They're like, well, I eat once a day. No wonder why you're always agitated. Your body literally doesn't have what it needs, the sustenance to function. How's your water drinking? Oh, well, I get a lot of headaches. I don't drink a lot of water. I'll tell you why you get a lot of headaches, because you don't drink enough water. Most headaches, like 90-something% of headaches, it's a low 90s, but still in the 90s, 90-something% of headaches are caused from dehydration because people aren't drinking enough water, y'all. 70 to 80% of our bodies are water, and we're not consuming enough water to replace what our bodies need just for functioning, right? So we have to make sure we're drinking enough water. We have to make sure that we're getting our butts to bed on time and getting the proper amount of rest, whatever that means for us in our life schedule. We have to make sure that we're getting movement. The human body requires and it craves movement. I'm not saying you have to go train for the Boston Marathon. I'm saying 10 minutes, right? Like nothing crazy. Half an hour if you're feeling crazy, maybe more, depending on what your life is. But it doesn't have to be an inordinate amount of time or a huge chore. You could say, you know what, today I have a busy schedule, but I'm going to carve out these 10 minutes, I don't know, in the middle of the day, after your work day, before your work day, while the kids are taking a nap. I'm going to do this 10-minute free yoga video, whatever it is, right? 10 minutes of movement is better than no minutes of movement. And your body will thank you, because I promise you it is craving movement. And people who are sedentary are more likely to also be Krabby Patties. So you don't want to be a Krabby Patty, or maybe you do, I don't know. But if you don't want to be a Krabby Patty, one of the best ways to do that is by getting movement. These things, when we're eating enough healthy foods and like well-rounded meals, food is medicine. We're changing the molecular structure in our body and in our minds, which means we're altering our hormones, which affects our mental health, our physicality, our immune system. Like they're all interconnected. When we're not sleeping enough, it affects our mental health, our moods, and our physicality, right? When we're not drinking enough water, guess what? Mood, health, physicality, like immune system, all of these things are intertwined. And these are the basics, right? This is the foundational stuff that we should be prioritizing so that we can build our days off of that. Our days turn to weeks, and weeks turn to months turn to years, and that's your whole life. So we want to make sure that we are being intentional about meeting our basic needs. Eating, drinking lots of water, getting movement, getting rest, whatever, again, that means for you, and getting outside and getting some fresh air and some sunlight. Even though there are dark and cloudy days sometimes, it is essential that you get your butt outside, even if it's just to go check the mail. Or for me, it was like pulling in the garbage barrel. And when I pulled in the garbage barrel, the sun was hitting that spot just right. And I closed my eyes and I stood there, and it felt like 20 seconds. And when I checked my phone, 5 minutes went by. But that's 5 minutes of vitamin D that my body was clearly craving, right? So we want to make sure that we're meeting our basic human needs. Now, I want to say this disclaimer. When we are paying attention to who we are, when we are getting to know ourselves, then we can figure out not what everybody else is saying is the exact or prescribed number of whatever, but we say, you know what? I know myself, and I know that I need X amount of hours of sleep, because when I don't, I pay attention, and I'm a Krabby Patty when I don't get enough sleep. When I don't drink enough water, I'm a Krabby Patty. When I don't eat enough food, I'm a Krabby Patty. I know what it takes for me. I know that if I eat a whole bag of potato chips, it makes me feel gross. And then not like, oh, I'm beating myself up because I ate chips. Not that. Like literally the processed foods going through my organs is like, what you trying to do to us, girl? And then my organs are like, we're not happy with you. And I can feel it and it affects my mood. And then it affects my relationships and my interactions. So I say, okay, I'm going to have a bowl instead of the whole bag of chips because I recognize that when I do that, I feel better in my body, which affects my mentality, which affects my relationships, right? It's all connected. So we have to pay attention to what it is that works for our bodies and what does not to, again, go on that journey of healthy and happy. And those things might evolve and change over time. That's part of the deal, right? As we're evolving and changing, so might those things. As our body needs change, so might those things. Like when a woman is with child, she takes in a lot more calories. If somebody's working out, they tend to want to eat more, right? Because your body is evolving and changing. And so your needs also change. If you find that you are always tired, you might also want to look at what you're eating and whether or not you're getting movement because all of those things are interconnected. When I start to feel back pain, I find myself craving pineapple. And I know that pineapple is a natural anti-inflammatory. Well, I didn't know. And then I found out that pineapple is an anti-inflammatory. And I went, oh, that's why I crave pineapple whenever my back starts acting crazy, right? So paying attention to our bodies, this is where intuitive eating comes from, like that term. I'm not doing this because it's not real. I'm doing this because that's what it's termed, right? That's where it comes from. Knowing yourself and being intuitive in how you fuel your body, because we really want to cultivate a lifestyle where we're supporting our health and happiness rather than sabotaging it, because food does affect our mood. Rest affects our mood. Water affects our mood. Sleep affects our mood, right? So we want to make sure that we're paying attention to what helps us stay up and what brings us down, and then making adjustments accordingly so that, again, we can show up and like, oh, I feel magical today. And I would much rather feel magical on most days than the opposite, right? So meeting your basic human needs, that really should be a priority for you. And it should be something that you can also like get an accountability buddy. And, maybe to work out or like Yoga with Adrienne does these 30 days, of yoga every day. It's free. And then there's a whole community of people who can support you. Maybe you grab a friend to go for a walk with every day. There's these two older women who live on my street, and every single day, snow, rain, freezing cold, doesn't matter. They are bundled up and their butts are on the street and they just do 2 or 3 laps, right? So like there's always ways. You might have 1,000 million bazillion excuses, but none of them are really valid, because there are, whether you have no money or you have all the money in the world, there's something available to you in every genre, in all kinds of ways that can support movement, right? Okay, so that's that. And then of course, fresh air and sunshine. That's really important. Vitamin D. The second thing that I want to suggest is that we get better practice at recognizing when we need help, rather than like, oh my God, it's so hard. I'm doing it all by myself all the time. That used to be my story. And rather than say like, oh my gosh, this is really difficult, I should ask for help. And then the first time I remember thinking that, I was like, what is wrong with me? I don't ask for help. I do it all by myself all the time because I'm a single mother and I need to prove to who? Who did I need to prove anything to? Oh my gosh, all I was doing was wearing myself out and making myself less available to my daughter because I was so exhausted, right? So I started asking for help, and then I allowed myself to be open to receiving help, even if it didn't look like what I thought it should, right? Now, if the help that you're receiving is more detrimental than not, then absolutely cut it off. But sometimes when people show up and they are showing up to help you, it might not look like what you think it should, but if it's helpful, allow yourself to accept it, right? Let it happen because you need it. You're deserving. You're worthy. We are a collective. We are a community. We're meant to be there and support each other for when one person is down, we can help lift them up, right? So allow yourself to be open to help. That's a really big self-care one, is like practicing being open to help. And if you're not there yet, when I first started allowing myself to be open to help, I had affirmations that said, I am open to asking for and receiving help. And then it became like a mantra. I am open to asking for and receiving help. Okay, I'm open to asking for, right? Then the more I repeated it, the more I started to believe it. The more I believed it, the more I became it. And the more I became it, the more I allowed it. So just a little extra for you there. And then the last thing is to celebrate. please, 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 we have to get better at celebrating ourselves for the little things and the big things. Celebrating each other, right? Specifically, I'm talking about self-care. So I am talking about celebrating ourselves. If you did 10 minutes of yoga, celebrate yourself. If you, put extra veggies on your plate, celebrate yourself. If you drank enough water and you feel really good about that, celebrate. If you carved out time to sit and paint, something that you really enjoy doing, celebrate. If you had an aha moment about yourself that you didn't realize before, celebrate. It doesn't have to be these huge things, right? And then the better we are at practicing celebrating the small things, the more likely we are at duplicating those behaviors, because we know that the reward is, I'm going to give myself some love, a little high five, I'm going to do a little dance. Hey, yo, I did that. And then I'm going to want to do that more and more. And then it really is those little things that we do repetitiously that create new habits that build our entire lives, right? So give yourself room, permission to celebrate, and celebrate some more. I have there's a woman who comes to my classes, and she says she ran up the stairs carrying all of her laundry. And when she got to the top, she realized she wasn't out of breath and she wasn't sore and she didn't have to pause on the stairs. She just ran up the stairs, and she was so excited that she ran in the room and she wanted to celebrate, and she jumped on her husband, and she had never been able to launch herself off the floor and jump on her husband before, and then they celebrated. But right, there's it doesn't have to cost money. She got to the top of the stairs and she was so excited, she did a dance, and then she ran and jumped on her husband. And then it makes you feel good. I've been taking care of myself and my body feels good and I'm functional and I've increased my functionality. And I went to a gym and got a membership. That's help. And I take classes and I'm saying, I don't know what I'm doing. Can you show me? And she asks for help and then she reaps the benefits, right? Yes, please. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Meet your basic human needs. Get some help. Ask for help. Let it in. Celebrate. What is that? I don't know what that was, but it happened. So we're just going to go with it. Okay, that's all I have. Meet your basic needs. Get help. Celebrate. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. If you like it, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. I'm not the boss of you. Subscribe to my channel and share it with someone if you know someone who can benefit from it. That's all I got. I'll see you next week, where I'm going to give you 3 more tips to help increase your self-care in a real and practical way. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.